Now, every business that you look at is going to have some amount of factors, some characteristics that must be true in order for the business to succeed. And if those things aren't met, the business will fail. And those are called critically important assumptions.
Like, we need this much to pay the rent, we need this many customers, like that kind of thing?
Exactly. Okay. So, because you're in the yoga market, we'll use a yoga example. Okay. Let's say you want to open a studio. And you found a place that you can rent in what looks to be a really good area of town. Okay. Where your target market appears to be. The rent is going to cost $10,000 a month.
Bad already. Bad.
That's what it is. Okay. We're just testing an idea.
All right.
Okay. So if you sign a 12-month lease. Okay. And you estimate that you're going to need, in terms of paying employees and keeping the lights on and taxes and all this stuff, you're going to need another $12,000 on top of that a month. Okay?
All right.
Now, you'll also need to spend about $5,000 for equipment up front. Mats and blocks and straps and, all that stuff. Okay. Now, the commercial real estate agent, because they're paid on commission.
Right.
Wants you to buy this as soon as possible, and they're putting pressure on you to lease this place, and they're putting pressure on you to move.
Right.
Like, you've got to snap this place up,
of course,
or somebody else is going to take it.
Right.
And you're going to be out
a
yoga studio, and the world's going to end.
Right.
Okay. Now, you have the money to cover it. Should you sign the lease?
Not yet.
Why not?
Well, I don't know how many people I'm going to have. I don't know how many people I'm going to need. I don't know how much I'm going to charge for a class and what it's going to end up looking like. I got to figure all that out first.
Yeah. Those are critically important assumptions.
Okay.
Okay. So in order for the business to work, you have some information already, right? You know how much it's going to cost to run.
Right.
Roundabout. You know that you're going to be locked in if you choose to go ahead for at least 12 months. What you don't know are the price that people are willing to pay, how long people are going to be willing to pay it, how many people are going to be willing to pay it. And as a result, if those assumptions aren't above the level at which you're spending, the business will fail. And if any single one of those things is lower than you expect it or need it to be, it doesn't matter how much you really want to run a yoga studio.
Right.
The business will fail. Okay. So part of the iteration cycle and part of the planning that you can do while you're creating something valuable is to identify your critically important assumptions, the things that must be true in order for the business to work. Okay. And then your testing is designed to validate.
Can I get at least that level?
Exactly. Okay. Okay. So that those things, those important assumptions really are true. Because if they are true, you have a wonderful business. If they're not true, you're in trouble.
So you're assuming I can get at least 100 people to pay this much per month. That's the assumption part.
That is the assumption. Okay. And your early testing or the iteration cycle is designed to validate those assumptions as quickly as possible.
Got it.
If your assumptions are validated, you know you've got a good business. You can proceed full speed ahead.
So that's why you do something like a pre-order or something, so you can find out before you open your doors and.
Right.
Okay.
So one of the things, good example is when I quit my job at P&G to start coaching.
Yes.
There were, the assumptions were we needed a certain amount of income because we were living in New York and it's expensive. And we needed a certain amount of income, which related to a certain number of customers at a certain price per month. That would stick with me for a certain amount of time.
Right.
Critically, it was a subscription continuity model. And so those were my critically important assumptions. If I didn't get enough customers, or if I couldn't charge enough, or I couldn't keep people long enough, I was in trouble. And so
luckily he had me.
Right. Working at the best bridal salon in the world. It was actually pretty good. But, the part of what made that an okay leap to make was those assumptions had already been validated
Right.
by the time I quit.
Right.
So I already knew I had about a year and a half's worth of data on how long people tended to stick around, how much they were willing to pay, how many customers I could support, and how many people on a routine basis were raising their hands and saying, yes, I'm at least interested in talking
Right.
with you. And so those assumptions were validated before I made the leap.
Right.
And after, I was able to take that and actually make that a really wonderful business because everything that needed to be in place in order to make the business work
Right.
was in place. If any single one of those factors wouldn't have worked out,
Right.
the business would not have worked. So the biggest thing is every single offering has, call them CIAs. Every single offering has critically important assumptions that have to be true in order for it to work.
Okay.
And the more clearly you can define the assumptions, so what are the critical factors? What has to be true in order for this to work? The more clearly you can define it, and the more quickly you can test and validate that they actually are true
Or possible.
or possible, the more quickly you can devote yourself to actually exploring this opportunity. So in terms of your research, or as you're iterating, or as you're developing this offer, your priority is to validate your CIAs first.
Okay.
Because if they don't validate, then you have nothing to work with.
Right.
And you can quickly move on to something else. So the next couple of models will talk about how to validate your idea quickly
Okay.
and inexpensively, so you can figure out, without investing your life savings and 10 years of your life, figuring out if something's going to work or not.
Okay.